I remember being in the living room and just working with my dad. I remember being in the living room and we're just going to work and practicing way more than I know any other child that was practicing at that time. And so hard work is definitely starting up here, and of course you got to put yourself through the pain because we're in the pain game. 18, 19, that's when I said, you know what, Viddal, if you're gonna do this, you got to do it for yourself. It's the only person that's gonna ruin this is me, and I don't intend on ruining it because I want to do it.
It's Jordan from the Mulliganbrothers, and today's interview is with Viddal Riley, a professional boxer, but also known in the YouTube world as KSI's coach and a future world champion. Today's interview was brought to you by Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now buy the hardest worker in the room t-shirts, which help support film and direct projects like this. You could also become a YouTube member with the join button down below. Let's jump into the interview.
So, just for people who don't know, just introduce yourself and what you do.
Hey, I'm Viddal Riley, professional boxer, social media influencer, and had 4 professional fights, 4 wins, 2 knockouts, and yeah, YouTube channel, 1 million subscribers, Instagram page, 580 something thousand, Twitter page, 386,000. So yeah, I've been doing all right.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
We have a large portion of American audience. I mean, you know like what YouTube's like, but if you was to tell them where you grew up, like, could you describe it as if you describe it to an American audience?
Hey, so I was born in London, East London to be exact. I was born in Hackney, East London. Grew up there, was there for 8 years. Moved to Tottenham, which is North London, North East, so not far, just down the road. And that's where I would say I developed into, you know, real consciousness to know what's going on. I'd say those were key years for me maturing and developing. But yeah, not the best areas to grow up in, but I'm lucky I had a good household to be in. Both parents, mother, father, their younger sister as well, so a lot of structure in the household regardless of what's going on the road. But I wouldn't want to grow up anywhere else. Like, how I am is how I am because I grew up there. Like, I value it to the fullest and I would never change it, because having the structure at home and then outside having the reverse, it creates a balance. You know, it's not too much of one thing. So I feel like that's contributed towards my character a massive amount.
I feel like you've touched on it there, but like, if you was to describe like what your childhood was like just a little bit more of that.
So I'd say it was structured, it was regimented, and I didn't like it. I hated it. But as I've matured into an adult and look around at my peers, again, I wouldn't change it. At that time, I would have changed it. My dad's in the room right now, and I'm being honest. He knows I'm being honest. I wasn't a fan of it. I wanted to just do what everyone was doing. If I could be out, I'd be out. If I want to ride my bike like everyone else. I want to just hang out in the summer holidays. My mom wouldn't let me do that. She wouldn't let me just be out in the summer just riding my bike around the block. She said, no, you're going to go to an adventure camp for like 2 weeks. You're going to rock climb. You're going to do something. You're going to have something to do with your time. If I wasn't in the boxing gym, I wasn't in school. It's not about just having free time, because that's when you just go and start doing your own thing. So it was very structured. I know what time I'm going to bed. I know what time I'm going to get up. I know I should revise here. I know I should train here. And it's installed into me. As an adult living by myself now, I still don't just free roam and do anything I want to do. I've kept structure to my life, and I'm extremely grateful for it now, but hated it back in the day.
This one shocked me, like doing a bit of the research for this, is 2 years old, getting into boxing. Yeah. So how does that happen? And also, I found
out some new stuff today, or stuff I've heard before, but been reminded. Punching a little kangaroo apparently in the house, putting socks on my hands. I know I've seen pictures of myself with socks on my hands. I've definitely seen pictures of me wearing WWF at the time wrestling belts, pretending that those were titles, like boxing belts as well. Had my little head guard on, gloves on, and yeah, I just remember being in the living room and just working with my dad. I remember being in the living room and we're just going to work and practicing way more than I know any other child that was practicing at that time. And that is what, again, has got me where I am today. something that you look at as a kid, you can't see posh on us. So you're like, why are we doing this? I just want to play PlayStation. They're playing PlayStation. And then you realize now the stuff is so ingrained into me that we're ahead. We're ahead, and now it's just little nuances that are really going to take me through, but everything is already there because of that foundation that was built from the beginning.
So as you're describing that, you're talking about like having your dad around. Like, what was it like having a father figure who was involved in the boxing world?
I don't know where I would be today if he wasn't around. I'm telling you, because I feel like every son, even with the best mother in the world, you get to that age, you start pushing buttons. You start testing them a little bit. And if you haven't got that father figure, it doesn't have to be, so that's why it's a father figure. It doesn't have to necessarily be your father, but you need a father figure. You know, for me, I'm fortunate it is actually my dad who was there consistently making sure I'm in line. Because there's a few times, you know, I'll act up and my mum can't really hold it at that time. And then I know he's there, and you just get that back up and you're like, okay, cool. I need to stay in line and stay on track to what I'm doing. It's ultra important. And especially growing up where I grew up, if you don't have it, you can tell the difference between the people who operate without and who has. And I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I got both my parents around big key figures in my life to keep me on that right track and path.
It was interesting actually today, like in the ring, like seeing that. So has your dad carried that energy over through today?
Listen, he's not changed. He's not changed really that much, but he also doesn't treat me like a kid. You see a lot of father and son boxing relationships. This like the father still sees them as the kid punching the kangaroo, or the kid that's just, you know, running around in the house. He understands I'm a man in my own right, but what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. What needs to be done needs to be done. So that always remains, but how you communicate and get that across is the important thing. And that's how we don't have any conflict, because I know he's only telling me what's good for me and what's in my best interest, and he's not talking down to me. He's only telling me what will prevent me from being embarrassed under them lights, and me and him hate embarrassment. So if I'm not doing certain things and those little things lead to that big embarrassment, we will clamp down on it. He will clamp down on it. And I also clamp down on myself, which is I'd say a relatively new thing. I didn't really realize the scale of what I was doing for many years and what the consequences were of not ticking certain boxes. But maturing into an adult, gaining rationalization of what's happening, and living for yourself, this is for my life, you know, this is for my progress. Once I started to identify that, when he's clamping down, I'm like, go, yeah, do it, tell me again, hit me again, do it again. Yes, because I need to learn it. It's essential. And he's only telling me for me. And once you realize that it's not I'm having a go, it's I'm trying to help, you don't receive the information negatively.
I mean, I saw that in the ring, like the respect of when he's telling you're okay, you're receiving it. And it's funny, I played basketball and I saw there was a father and son relationship in my team, and it was the dad pushing the kid to do the basketball. Hated it. Every time his dad told him something, he hated it. So that leads me on to my next question, is there's that thing, you know, as your dad's into boxing, like some people perceive it probably like he's just doing it because his dad's forcing him, he's just doing it because his dad's making him do it. So how much of it grew into you loving the sport, and that was basically on your terms?
I'd say from 18, 17, no, 18, 19, that's when I said, you know what, Viddal, if you're going to do this, you got to do it for yourself. Many years before that, it was my dad saying, no, you don't understand what you can get out of this. You don't understand what you can get out of it. He always said to me, you might not reach the top of the sport, but you can make a living from boxing. You'll be able to make a living from the sport. And we've seen in recent years that's happened. You know, I haven't reached world championship level. I haven't reached the level that most fighters have to reach to make a living. But boxing did make me a living, and really early. And I can't see it. I don't want to see it. I just want to play out. I want to just play Xbox. I'm trying to be online in the Xbox party, and that's what I'm trying to do. And then I think when I started working, doing my day job, working full time, people talking down to you, and I don't like that. You know, it's not my thing. Some people can be told what to do all the time. I'm not really into it. I need to kind of be my own boss. And when I realized the life I was living wasn't leading me towards being my own boss, I said, you know what, I need to get back into boxing properly, do it properly, and see it through. And that's when there's no force now. My dad doesn't force me to watch boxing. I ask him to send me clips. I say, send me something. You know, send me whatever you're watching, send it to me. I want to know. I want to be ahead of it. Opponents, future opponents, I wouldn't have a clue before who's even around my division. Now we might say names at the same time. I'll say, oh, who's this? I haven't heard of him. I'll go watch him myself. And it makes his job easier, and it makes me a better fighter.
Just on a point I think a lot of people can relate to is the perspective of looking back at those moments where you was like, I don't want to work for this guy. I don't want to do this job.
Yeah.
You know, there's something better for me. Have you got a moment that you can remember specifically that kind of encapsulates that?
I remember working at Nightown, Oxford Circus, and my manager at the time drove to my house and picked me up on Boxing Day to make sure I came into work. And I just thought, I can't live like this. Like, I have to, pulling up outside my house to drag me into the store to give other people items, and I'm just thought, I don't want this. I don't want to feel that pressure. I don't want anyone to make me feel like this is what you. There's pressure in life anyway, no matter what you do. But I don't like it in that way. You know, I don't want someone to tell me, oh yeah, you only can have this many days off. Do you know what I mean? What I do for my closest people to me to escape that. That's what really keeps me going. It's not about me per se. It's about the people around me all having that freedom and everyone being able to live that life. Whether it's my dad, whether it's my cameraman, whether it's my physio. I just want everyone to have those choices and those options. And they all have similar personalities to me in that way. We'll be even better when we achieve that. No one's gonna rest on their laurels and be like, yeah, we have the right to be lazy now. Everyone will further excel because they have that freedom. And that's what we work for, and that's why we're striving so hard. And honestly, that's my motivation, is to get everyone living the life they want to live, because we're already hard workers. It's not about us we don't want to work hard. We just want to work hard for us. We just want to work hard and really reap the fruits of our labor. And that's really what the journey is about.
Early days, was there a moment you can remember that you fell in love with the sport, like a click moment?
Yeah, I think winning my first national title and my first Great Britain title, I think I fell in love with the success of it too much, because the following year led to my first defeat. And my dad always said, yo, you win the schoolboys, which is the national championships. I won my first national championships at 12 years old. And he said, you'll win them. And I believed him, but you know, as it was going along and I was detonating, stop one guy, stop another guy, then I actually win it. Then I win the Great Britain Championships. I'm like, well, you said I'm going to win it. I won it, and it wasn't even that hard. And I'll be honest, it wasn't that hard. And then he said to me, but there's a guy in a couple weights below you. You got to watch out for him because he's similar to you. He's good. He knows what he's doing. I thought, don't you just see, I just done this easy. I have nothing to worry about. And you know how complacency comes up to get you. But I'd say I fell in love with the success. I wouldn't say I fell in love with boxing, but I fell in love with the pats on the back and people saying, oh, you're the best in the country, like you're the best in Great Britain. I'm like 12 years old. Like 12 years old, I'm thinking I'm the best in the country. Like, I can't believe it. Like, my dad's been saying it, it's here. And I just kind of settled into it and fell in love with that. But then when I lost, I guess the love went straight away. I said, yeah, maybe this thing isn't as sweet as I thought it was, because everyone turns their back on you when you lose. But it's like what we were saying off camera earlier about the amateurs. What do you learn from that? It's not all about in the ring. It's also learning how to deal with those things, dealing with people patting you when you're winning and then turning away from you when you lose, and then you can turn up to certain things before and everyone's happy, and then you just become your second best now. So second best you might in boxing, there's only two guys in the ring, you're lost. So yeah, the first time I fell in love was when I was 12, and then fell out of love with it a year later.
It's funny, I see on, like I was watching some of your YouTube stuff as well, and there's a mindset for, a strong mindset to like achieve and succeed. Like, where do you think that comes from?
Again, I think
always had
subconscious. I think it's subconscious. I watch my parents. They both work hard. Do you know what I mean? They both worked hard. No one's lounging around. No one's like waiting for anything to come to them. Dad's up at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. By the time I go to school, he's already long gone already to work. I'm thinking, okay. So you get used to just seeing these things. My mum, she'll go work. She'll go to another work. She'll go to another job. She's working. So you just get used to seeing the work. No one's just waiting for things to come to them. So I think it's just subconscious. It's installed into me. If you want to get something, you want a new pair of trainers, you better get a job. You want to wear designer clothes, you better do overtime. Don't ask. It's not about asking and being in debt to others. It's about going out there, grinding. If you want to get something, put extra in. You want extra gifts, you do extra work. And I feel like I saw that growing up, and it's just in me to this day.
Seeing your dad speak to you today, and there must have been some moments where he's giving you them lessons, like, there must be something that sticks out that you remember.
I'd say one that changed my life was I lost my final amateur fight. I was driving back from up north, and he said to me, "You got to really look at what you're doing now." He said, and at this time, I just lost. So I'm really in that place where I'm like, I don't want to hear criticism. I don't want to hear anything. I just want to be upset by myself. And he said, look, you got to turn pro now, or you really going to have to put your foot down if you want to get out of boxing what you want to get out of it. And sometimes, that was the first time in my life where, when he was giving me one of those speeches, I knew he wasn't exaggerating. Like, I was old enough to realize he's right, he's actually right. Like, it is kind of a make or break. It's not a make or, obviously I could go and box, I could have more amateur fights if I wanted to, but to achieve what we want to achieve and to stay on the trajectory of progression that we're used to operating on, he's like, you got to make your decision now. You got to really knuckle down here, or you got to turn pro and continue and do what you said you wanted to do from when you was a child. And when he had that speech with me, even when I was laying in bed when I got home, I thought, he's right. I can't pretend. I can't act like I didn't hear it. I got to know what I'm doing. And I say, from that conversation to present day, that's when I've really moved forward. And that's where I've really progressed and taken the sport seriously. And
What does that look like day to day?
Film, watching, you know what it is? It's watching things when you don't want to watch it. I feel like that's the most important thing. Like, sometimes there's always options. There's always something else to do. I believe that. There's always something else to do. But it's choosing to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay and watch this fight. Or I don't want to run today, but I'm going to run, and I'm going to run the best I can run. Or like today, I feel tired. It's not about, but you got responsibilities. We agreed, we're going to come down, we're going to shoot this, we're going to do this. We're coming down, we're going to do it, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And I feel like that's why I'm going to be one of the best, because I do things now when I don't necessarily want to do them. And before, I would only do it when I want to do it. But that's just how you become average. So I said to myself, it's about grinding when you don't want to grind. It's about getting up when you don't want to get up, traveling up and down the country when you don't necessarily want to travel up and down. And my team do it with me. And that's why I know I got the best team around me, whether it's my cameraman, whether it's my strength conditioning coach. My strength conditioning coach got up at 4:30 in the morning yesterday and still came all the way to Stoke with me and got back at 11 p.m. just to make sure that he was there for me. And I want to be lazy. I can't. I feel guilty. I feel like you're putting yourself out, and I can't even put myself out for myself. I can't operate that way, and that's why I'm so glad I'm fortunate to have the team I have, because it really makes me realize, like, yeah, I'm in the right place, and everyone's pushing. Everyone wants it as much as I want it, and that keeps me going.
Yeah, the one thing that's interesting for me as somebody who I wouldn't say I watch as much boxing as someone who was into boxing. What's the journey from amateurs to pro? Like, what does that look like? What did your journey look like as well? And then also the leap. Like, what was the difference when you eventually got there?
So I was a top amateur. So my journey from amateur to pro the pinnacle of my amateur career is international tournaments, world championships, Olympics. That is my path. That was my path, you know, and that's not for everyone. Some people have a few amateur fights, turn over professionally. They have to start low at the bottom of the pile and slowly work their way to the top of the professional ranks through the hard work. And I do say it's my dad. As an amateur, definitely the hard work is all done from him. It was from his side. Through his hard work, I was a top amateur. And I was always looked at as a Olympic hopeful. I went to the Youth Olympics. So it's like, you know, I'm already on that path. I'm already with Team GB. I'm already in Sheffield training alongside the biggest names. And my transition, it started to look less like I was going to the Olympics because a few losses were coming in at the wrong times. You know, the fights I should have won, I was just letting them slip, and it makes that Olympic dream seem a bit further away. But you still can't discredit the 8 national titles, the European medal, the Youth Olympic. It's still a lot of pedigree. So fortunately, even with those hiccups, I already established myself so much as an amateur, not only in the UK but internationally, that when I turned professional, I always believed that I'd be in a privileged position. And that's before, obviously, the big thing happened with me and training with KSI.
Yeah, so this is what I did want to go over, and I'm not saying it's like defending yourself against this, but the idea that you've been connected to the YouTube side of boxing, like just explain like why that's not the case, like you say, the pedigree, like what does that mean? Like, you know, we've got like, if somebody who's not understanding of the world of boxing, they might just assume. So how would you describe the difference?
The easiest way to put it is KSI is who he is because when I was winning national titles, he was making videos. What I was doing when I was boxing and traveling up and down and winning these national titles, he was making YouTube videos, right? So that's what he does. That's what he specializes in, you know? And he stepped into boxing in 2017, but because of what he does, creates so much following and so much attention, as opposed to me within the community. Yeah, everyone knows you, but it's not televised, it's not on a big scale, you know. No one puts it on the YouTube channel and gets millions of views as an amateur. No matter, if you're the best amateur in the world, you still won't get a million views. You know, that's how it is. What he done accumulated attention, and a lot of people confuse attention with quality. Just because 10 million people watch what you do doesn't mean it's good. It just means you've managed to get them to watch what you're doing. And I feel like that's where the lines blur between the YouTube boxing world and the traditional boxing world, is the numbers, the finances. They are mistaken for quality, and they're not linked. The fan base was built from something completely different, not because they've been boxing for a ton of years. I've been boxing since I was 6 years old in the boxing gym, right? That cannot be replaced by subscribers or followers. It's just not the same thing. You know, it's a completely different thing, but less people cared. So it's like it doesn't count. If it's less views, no, it don't count. It counts. It's just not seen. But you know, what's not seen is not believed. That's what they say.
So yeah, this is my maths is probably quite poor here, but I'm sure this is somewhere. So you've probably got like 12 to 16 extra years of boxing training over like the YouTube side of things.
Yeah, I'd say like 16 years. Yeah.
Can you skip that? Like, this is a conversation right now. Can
No,
you skip those
you
years?
can't. You can't. You can accelerate it with more access to things. So if I'm Jake Paul and I just started boxing, I'm already a millionaire. Of course, I can get the best trainer in the world. I can train full time, get the best facility, fly wherever I need to fly to progress quicker. But you can't skip, and I think that's the beautiful thing about boxing, because in life, there's a lot of things that you can kind of skip over. People don't really get found out for doing things incorrectly, or if you're in a certain position, you can just cheat it. You can kind of cheat it. Boxing, you can't, because once you get in the ring, it's only you two in there. If your opponent hasn't been cheating and you have, that only ends, I don't know what that was, it only ends in one outcome. If you've been slacking and your opponent hasn't been slacking, you'll get found out. If I've been putting years into the sport and learning things that you never even heard of, before you even picked up a pair of gloves, things that I was learning, when we're in there and it's my brain against yours, I'm going to come out on top. I just know more. It doesn't matter how much money you got, what training you have. I've been doing it. And that's what boxing's about. It's what you've been doing, not what your coach has been doing, not what your mate has been doing. It's about what you have been doing. And that's why it's one of the finest sports, because you can't cheat it.
We were talking earlier, what's the moment that you conceived the idea of becoming a champion?
World champion, or...
Let's go, when you start verbalising world champion.
I think I truly believed that I could become a world champion when I moved back here. I think when I moved back here last year, started training with my dad again, training with my strength conditioning coach, Leon Williams. That's when I really started to believe it, because I knew I was getting what I needed. I didn't feel like something was missing. I felt like we've got the team now. We've got the structure in place. The only person that's gonna ruin this is me. And I don't intend on ruining it, because I wanna do it. So when I got back and I really started working properly and getting myself back, it felt like, oh, I'm back. This is what's gonna get me to be a world champion. I can be a world champion because my team know what it takes to get there. They're doing it, I'm listening, and I'm doing it. Simple equation, I'll be a world champion.
I love it. So do you believe in like kind of manifesting stuff, like in terms of like thinking about stuff? And
I do think you can manifest negativity. I also believe you can manifest positivity. And I also believe that my journey is not a journey of failure, because I think there's a lot of things that's happened in my life where if I was supposed to go down and out, it would have happened already. I genuinely believe that whether it's injury, whether it's outside of the ring, there's been things that's happened to me where if someone's supposed to go down, they would go down. And I think I get confidence in the fact that no matter when things go left, they always end up going right. And they end up going further right than they were before they went left. And so now when things don't go my way, I'm like, something special is about to happen. Something even bigger is about to happen, because that just seems to be the pattern of my life. But I try to minimize through whatever I can do, things not going the way they should go.
It's funny, like I think we feel the same thing. Like we've had it where we've lost all revenue, everything's going to shit.
Yeah.
And I think the way of our life's gone is kind of similar. That there was something good around the corner. Kind of like trusted the process. It worked out right. Yeah.
You got to believe in the ups and downs. The downs are only as down as you make them. It's true, and that's the truth. It's only as down as you make them, because there's always something to seek in those situations that is positive. And you just have to program your mind that way. And when you do that, you get out of those little down periods and you're back. And you just don't get addicted to anything. Don't get addicted to being low. Don't get addicted to being high, because any adverse situation will get you down. It will get to you more. If you're rich and you get attracted to that, I'm rich. When you're not as rich, you're gonna go down. If you're upset and you're like, I'm really upset, you're just gonna go crashing. You just can't really dive too much into anything. You just gotta let things be and enjoy it, but don't overindulge. Whether it's anything, you overindulge in food, you're gonna get some complications. You overindulge in anything, you're gonna get complications. Just enjoy everything in a balance. That's what I try to do. Balance everything.
Perfect. I think that's amazing. Like, there's a level-headedness of it. So I don't know if you'll be able to answer this if it even comes into your sort of thought processes. Mm-hmm. But when you've got the positive mindset of becoming a world champion, what's the negativity that you say you're your biggest enemy? You're the thing that can stop you from getting that. What is it? Yeah, but what are those thoughts like? Like in those moments.
I think as again, we're all humans. So there's times you lay down, you think, oof, don't know, man. This is seeming a bit unlikely. But then when I start thinking like that, you gotta reflect. Because I'm one of those people, I just live in the moment. I don't sit down on my credentials. Like, I don't always check the board over there like, oh yeah, you see this, yeah, like I won this. I don't do that. But sometimes when you're feeling like that, that's what it's about. It's about going back to those things. My dad calls it having something to hang your hat on. You know, you have to go back to those things because you achieve them. They haven't vanished, and you get caught up in this one little moment, and it's like, look how many look what you've done, look what you've actually done, look what you've actually achieved. And it's not a fluke. You don't become an 8-time national champion by a fluke. It just doesn't happen. So when you start to go, you know what, these things happen, and you remember things people have said to you. You know, world champions have said to me, oh, you hit hard, you know, you're one of the most difficult people I've ever been in there with, and stuff like that. And you think, there's no reason for them to say that. They don't have to say that. They don't owe me anything. Like, dust your shoulders off and get back to the program. And that's how I operate.
You know, when you're in the gym and it's tough, maybe on a treadmill, you're going for a long run, is there a mantra that goes through your head, like something that sticks in your mind that kind of motivates you to keep pulling forward?
I just think I don't want my opponent to have that advantage. That's all I think about. I just think I'm only in competition with myself though, really. Like, just because my opponent runs, say, 20 miles a week, I can run 5 miles a week. I don't think he's better than me. I don't think he's fitter than me. I just work to my optimal. I work to my optimal. I know what works for me. My dad knows what works for me. My whole team, they know what works for me. And as long as I'm pushing myself to that point, I don't worry too much about what they're doing. When I worry about what they're doing when I'm in there with them. That's the truth. When I'm in there with them and they hit me, bang, I'll go, okay, is this what we're doing? Cool. Now I'm gonna get you now. I'm gonna get you. But throughout the whole camp, you know, some people need to hit the bag. Like, he's hitting the bag right now, so I have to hit the bag right now. I don't think that. I just think this is what we do. This is how we operate. This is how we train, and we always do more than enough to be ready for whatever you're doing. Even if your regimen is more, less is more, and we got to know that my team know me, and we work exactly how we need to.
Have you got something in mind for the toughest adversity in your career, whether it's inside the ring or outside the ring?
Toughest adversity in my career, injury. I'd say it's injury. It's not losing. I'd say it's injury, because that is something that when the injury came, it was talking about my back injury most recently. It was frustrating because I was like, I'm ready to take the sport seriously now. Like, all these years I didn't, and now I'm taking it seriously. I'm doing everything that I need to do. I'm watching the sport. I'm trying my best, and now I get injured. When I really want it, now I get injured. And I think that was hard to deal with. That was tough to deal with because it's like, why is this happening to me when I'm committing, you know? But it made me, it's one of the biggest blessings that's ever happened to me, honestly, because it gave me that time to grow as a man. And I always say, you're a man first. And if you're a weak man, you're going to be a weak fighter. And I'm always a good fighter. I've always been a good fighter, but my mentality as a man hasn't always been as strong. And I've had friends for a long time who've seen me change as a person and seen me mature as a person. And that is why that injury happened to me. I truly believe that's why that injury happened. For me to come back to the UK, to come back to the team that built me, and also for me to mature as a man and really look at life differently, to then get back in the ring and be clear and know exactly what I want to do and how I should maneuver and operate with my life. And I'd say that injury was in the beginning, I just thought, I don't know why me? Why me? You know, when you ask yourself that question, why me? And then as I was going through the journey of it and getting to the middle and the end of it, I said, this injury weren't to ruin my career. This injury was to improve here. His injury was to really touch on here and be prepared for all the successes that's coming.
If you're enjoying this interview, guys, please consider heading over to Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can help support more projects like this in the future, or you become a YouTube member with the join button down below. Let's jump back into the interview.
It's funny because I think like injury is like one of the biggest hurdles. Like you go to the pub and you see the guy, you know, I was going to be pro, but, and then they say, you know, the long list of injuries that they had. Everyone has injuries. The greats all had injuries. So yeah, I think that's, I mean, it's just a part of possible. It must be horrible.
It's horrible. It's horrible, especially when you miss big opportunities because of injury. Do you know what I mean? And that sometimes when big opportunities are in front of you, any opportunity after that that may be bigger, that is not on your mind. That's the last thing on your mind. Oh, don't worry, you missed this one. They'll be bigger. That's the last thing you want to hear. But again, it's about manifesting that energy, and any lows, treating them how you want to treat them. And you know, that is where the mental strength came in. That's where I really went from here to here in terms of my mentality, in terms of what I think, in terms of how I look at others, and the direction. What's my purpose? What do I want to get out of boxing? Yeah, I'm good at boxing. But what do I want to get out of boxing? World champion's not enough. It's not enough. You know what I mean? It's a pinnacle, but it's not enough. What do I actually want to leave behind? Do you know what I mean? What do I want to create? What brand do I want to create? When people see me, what do I want them to think? You know, how on a deeper scale. And once I started to identify that, boxing stuff is easy.
What is it? Like, how would you describe those things you just said?
I want to make sure I'm not the same as everyone else, but not trying hard to do it by just simply being myself. We live in a world where people want to be like the trend because it's easy. It's easy to fit into a trend. It's easy to just find your way by being like someone else, being a knockoff version of someone else. But it doesn't have to be done that way. And the greats never operated that way. They're all different. Muhammad Ali ain't the same as Tyson, but they're both legends. Evander Holyfield ain't the same as Lennox Lewis, but they're both legends. They're both respected as highly as each other. And I feel like when we live in this social media world now, and you see that the guy that does this has 100K followers, it's like, well, if I do something similar, maybe I can get 100K. You know, I don't, and it's easy to fall into it. It's easy to fall into it, especially if revenue is involved. But then I really took a step back and said, no, this is me, you know. You only can be yourself. And people will be attracted to the fact that you are yourself. And that's when I feel like my brand went from here to here, because my brand was really documenting what the other YouTubers are doing. It wasn't really who's Viddal. And then when I got comfortable with the fact, this is me. This is who I am. So if you like the channel, come to the channel. If you don't, you don't. And I'm completely comfortable just being who I need to be. And I feel like my brand's only grown since then, and I've received more personal love since then, instead of just being the trainer of so-and-so, can I get a picture of you? People really like, no, your life's Viddal. Like, you know, they're connecting with me now. And that's the most beautiful thing, I think.
100%, yeah, it is authentic, man. There's loads of things you could easily do just to clickbait something.
Yeah, my channel, I'm telling you, my channel will be on 2-3 million subscribers right now if I was trying to just do whatever to get that. If I was trying to do anything to get subscribers and views, I'd have triple the views, I'd have triple the subscribers. But are they really there for me? No. And I'd rather not have them. That's my mentality. I'd rather not have it. If it's not sincere, I don't want it. If it's not sincere, I don't want it. I only want sincerity. I'd rather have 100K subscribers, knowing that 100K, if I said I'm standing here today, come and meet me, they will come, rather than have 1 million and they're like, what is KSI gonna be? And I'm like, no. They're like, cool, we're not coming then. what's the point in that? That doesn't make any sense to me. And yeah, it's the best thing just to have that authenticity and that genuine, you know, respect, and you know, the supporters at home just feel that way about you, and I feel it when I meet people as well. Like, it is a different energy I get now.
This was cool in terms of the fight world. That I thought was interesting was he wasn't doing it in a braggadocious way or anything like that. It was like, I've sorted my finances out. I'm set now. That's fine. I don't need to fight for money, but I'm still here. Yeah. And that's the threat. And like, yeah, explain that, man, because that seems interesting to me.
As I said again, I'm fortunate. I work hard, and I haven't boxed since February 2020, and I still live my life, you know, and I still can pretty much maneuver how I want to maneuver, and I live within my means. I've never grown up greedy. I've always been taught how to live within yourself. Don't do too much. Don't try and impress. Don't try and just live comfortably. And I can do that without having to get in the ring. And I think that is what makes me extra dangerous, is during this time out of the ring, it made me realize I can do that. And it made me realize that the goal is a bit bigger. The goal has to be a bit bigger for me. You know, my dad told me from a kid, you can make a living off boxing. Okay, I've made a living off boxing, but do I feel fulfilled? Do I feel like I've got what I wanted to out of the sport just because I made a living from it? No, I don't. There's still a lot more to prove. There's still a lot more to be done. And it's a one less pressure, thinking, when am I getting paid? When am I getting paid? When's my purse? I need it. I need that purse. You know, I don't think like that. I just think this guy needs to be detonated on. And that can just be my focus in its entirety. I'm not worried about anything else. And that's what makes me dangerous. I can channel my energy more. I can concentrate my energy more because there isn't as many worries.
How is it like with achieving the goal of financially freedom, like having financial freedom through boxing? Like, how is it that you want to push it a little bit further? And then no doubt when you pushed it a little bit further and you're world champion, push it a little bit further again.
I think, that's it, because it's not about me. It's not about me. Once I realized, okay, I can live how I live now. I make a couple videos, I do my reactions and that, you know, a couple branded posts, I'm good. It's not about me. It's about the people around me. Honestly, that's what it's about. It's about the people around me. I want everyone to do what they love and make a living from what they love doing. That's what keeps me going. I'm like, cool. My cousin, you want to make music? You want to produce beats? We're going to put you in a position where you can make a living off that. My cameraman, you want to take pictures? You want to travel the world? We're going to make sure you're in a position to do that. That's honestly how I feel, you know, and that's what really keeps me going. I'm like, cool, my dad, we love boxing. We love boxing. Let's make a living from boxing. Let's just wake up and do boxing and know that we're good. When those things are achieved, I'll be satisfied. Until that point, I'm not satisfied. It's not about me. It's about making sure all those things are set in that place where anything you love, you genuinely love, you make a living of it.
Interested with being a world champion, like is that like a thing you have to acquire, like in your mind? Like, is that something that you need to achieve?
I think I've been blessed with too much skill, too much potential to not be a world champion. So many things can get in the way of that isn't for what like the eyes can see. But it's just something I believe I can really do. And I look around and I think, if these guys can do it, surely I can do it. Like, and that just reinforces my belief that if you guys are there, and I feel that I can definitely get there, and I can be a world champion. I think that is where my potential. That is me reaching my potential. Not everyone's potential level is the same, and there's no shame in that. That's just life. But I think my potential is world champion. That's what I think.
You talk about team quite a bit. We saw today being trained by your dad as a coach. You talk about your cameraman. You talk about like your strength and conditioning coach. How important is it for yourself, and as well, like if you could expand, like for other people, should they have like a group of people around them like that?
I'd say it's extremely important in anything that you do, but in boxing, when someone's punching you in your head, you can't just be fighting for yourself. And I think I didn't get that before. I didn't understand the concept of that before. But now, I know I'm not just fighting for myself. It makes you dig deeper. It makes you dig deeper. I guess it's like two adults living their life before they have children. And they have a child, and they're like, it's not about me no more. Like, they gotta eat, they gotta be clothed, they gotta go to school, they gotta have certain things. And then it makes them dig that bit deeper, because they're like, it's not about me. I don't mind not having new trainers, but I don't want my kid to go to school and not have them, so I better go to work. And that's how I feel with my team. I'm like, it's not about me. I love my team. They're not for their skills, but just for them as people. I respect them as people first. And I think that's why I work hard, because it's not about this. It's not about the skills. Like, I want my people to feel good and the people that I love to feel good. And I want them to believe in this cause and I complete this cause. And that's what I have around me right now. And that's why I think I'm the best I've ever been. Because it's not just about what they can do for me. It's about, I value these people. I genuinely love these people. And I want us all to shine. I want us all to do well.
I mean, as a team, like winning the World Championship, as a team, you were all bathing that success. But one of the things I saw in one of your recent videos, I think I've got this right, is you promising your dad a Bentley. Was it a Bentley?
Yeah, he's changed his mind, but we ain't gonna talk about that. You don't want one anymore. You don't want, but I know if I pulled up outside his house with it, he would say cool. But you know what? That is a thing. That's how life is. You know, sometimes the goalpost does move. Sometimes the goal does move, but it's still high. That's how I look at it. Sometimes we change our objectives, but our objectives within the team are always still above. It's never where we are now. We're never just content. We're happy. We're happy, but we know we can push that little bit more. We ain't gonna do anything to get more. We're not gonna sell ourselves out to get more, but we'll grind for more. And if we believe we can do it, we'll do it. And I believe that I can look after both my parents. As I said, I have to keep mentioning my mum now because of recent things that's happened. But I believe I can do that, and I will do that as well.
If you were sat in a boardroom and both your parents are there, your whole team's there, how would you describe where you want to take them, where you want the team to be?
I just want them to be wherever I am. I think that should be the goal. You know, if I'm fighting in wherever I'm fighting, everyone, let's go, pack your bags, we're going. And it's not about, for me, it's not about paying for everyone. It's about the ability to have them, let them pay for themselves, but we're still in the same place. You know, a lot of people get to that position in life where they are there, but they have to pay for everything else, for everyone to join. It's like, what are you good at? What's your skill? Let's make you excel in that. So when I go, you're still coming along, but you already set, you got your own thing going on. Everyone has to build their own thing off what we're building. It's not about just following and, if you retire, what are we gonna do? Like, no, we don't want that. We want to work alongside each other. But when I say, all right, I'm not doing it no more, you're like, well, I already got this big company. It started off with working with you, but through that, I already got this, and this. That is what I believe is true success. It shouldn't be dependent on one man. It should be allowing other people to have the opportunity and build their own thing within the team.
100%, man. I fucking love that. As a pro fighter, we like hard work's banded around a lot. You know, like someone thinks they're working hard in the gym, like bodybuilding, and they're just, you know, going down to the gym. For a normal bodybuilder, it's just a standard session or whatever. Yeah. How would you describe hard work that goes into becoming a pro fighter? And I think the emphasis on, like, it's happened for years and years and years.
I think hard work is scrutinizing your weaknesses and finding a way to improve them. So hard work isn't dying in the gym. It's you're probably doing the reverse if you're feeling a certain way and you go crash down and it's just you're not achieving anything. Hard work is, what's your weakness? This is my weakness. I'm going to spend as much time as possible mentally and physically to improve it. Not just physically. People always associate hard work with, I've got lactic acid, I'm dying. No. Hard work is here as well. It actually starts here first, to be honest, because if you do all the work and you ain't got no brains, then you're not going to do anything. Like my dad always said to me again, he said, horses can run. He said, any animal can run. He said, just because you're going running doesn't mean you're working hard. And when he said that to me, I was like, he said that to me, I was like 13 or something. He's like, horses run. Just because you're running doesn't mean you're working hard. I'm thinking, I thought this is what hard work is. I'm running these roads. My lungs are burning. He's like, yeah, but it's this. And that's why it's a beautiful thing to start boxing that young. Through him coaching me, know a lot of stuff, then gain rationalization older to go, oh, that's what you meant. But it wasn't wasted because we still learnt so much in that time. So hard work is definitely starting up here, and of course you got to put yourself through the pain because we're in the pain game. But it's all in the brain, man. You got to start in the mind.
Just then you were talking about, like, we were talking about the physical hard work,
Yeah.
but then you went onto mindset. I just wondered, like, what sort of mindset it takes to be at the top level of boxing.
First thing is not comparing yourself to other people. I think that's just a mindset for life. I call myself an alien. That's what I say. I say I'm an alien. I don't think I'm a human because the way some humans operate, I don't wish to be looked at in the same category as them. So I've chosen my own. And I think that's really helped me, again, think in a different realm and be comfortable thinking in a different realm. Not to think is wrong to think how I think because I'm different anyway. And it's about being true to yourself. Said that me and my dad had a conversation a couple months ago. I said, as long as we're true to ourselves and we work hard, we're going to do everything that we need to do. And that is our method. We just stay true to ourselves. No one can replicate what we do because no one else is me. No one else can be me. No one else can be him. No one else can be anyone else but themselves. So you can't copy us. And if you do, you're already heading down the wrong path because you're just not us. And I think we have entire confidence in that. We believe in ourselves so much that we don't need to try and be like anyone else. Can you learn from other people? 100%. Of course, that's why people are on the planet. But that has to only be to a certain extent. You still got to have belief in your own system, a belief in you, what you do. And I think that's why we're in a great position because there's a lot of self-belief within the team. And that's where belief has to begin, really. You can't be looking for it, from the outside because it's not always going to be there. The belief here is strong and it's been strong and it's only getting stronger as the team can see me reciprocating the energy and progressing with what's being offered to me.
Talking about like imitation of people, like something that you wouldn't do yourself, but I feel like your whole journey looks like, especially with your dad, early days, that you've had that, it's rubbed off on you, like the influence has rubbed off on you. More
than I think sometimes, more than I said, a lot of it is subconscious. A lot of it is subconscious. But sometimes when I wake up and clean my room, and I remember my mum saying, don't come out your room until your room's clean. I don't think about that every day, but something in me makes me clean my room and get up and do that. And then I flash back and go, to be fair, she did make me clean my room a lot before I'd done anything else. And that's how I feel like a lot of my life is just subconscious, just things that you have to actually sit down and think, why do I do that? Oh, that's why I do it, because that's what I've been taught to do. I just don't, it's not in the forefront of my mind, but it's there. And it's the same in the ring. Sometimes I do a move, I'm like, I don't know why I do that move, but clearly it must be something I was taught then. I don't remember being taught that, but it's there. And that's what makes me, that's what people say is natural talent. There is such thing as natural talent, but trust me, it's a lot of drills, a lot of hard work, and a lot of years of grinding to get the natural talent that people think I just came out of the womb and was just doing all these moves. Like, it doesn't really work like that, but it's good to make it look that way.
You talk about your own like brand and your own business, and it's like you've hung around with some very successful people. Does that rub off, surround yourself with people like that?
You have to surround yourself with people you wish to, not be like, but at least have the same energy. And I feel like it's impossible to achieve anything great if you're not hanging around with people who want the same thing. And I didn't always get that concept. I always believed that I can hang with you and I can still, do what I want to do. Everything's subconscious. Again, it's subconscious. You need people that push. You need people that want to push for more. And I said every member of my team, they got goals. And then I'm like, well, they got goals, we got goals. Let's all move. And you need that. You need that, man. You need the people around you to be correct. You need the energy to be right. Everything is energy. Whether it's boxing, whether it's anything, it's energy. Everything is energy. If the frequency is not right, if the equilibrium is off, it's off. And we can't have that. Right now, everyone is on the same wavelength. And it's a beautiful thing.
This is one thing, whenever I'm interviewing fighters, or usually fighters, I'll ask them if if they see their vision for the future, like their prediction for how their career is going to go. Like, as strong as you have in your mind, what does that look like?
I think we're going to be proving a lot of people wrong, even though we're just going to be proving to ourselves what we already know in the short term. I think in the long term, I'm going to change what people think a boxer has to be. That's what I mean. I've been blessed with that. I know KSI could have trained with anyone. Do you know what I mean? Why did he come to Gym Box in Stratford to train with me? Why did that responsibility get placed on me? Why is there only a few people in the world that have a big social media following and can actually fight? You know, how did that stumble across me? Because I've been put here to change people's minds on what they think boxers have to do. And people always think boxing, you just have to be a boxer. Anything else you do is going to be your downfall. Anything else you do is going to be your demise. No, that's the whole reason I have a team, to help me with those other things. But I'm going to change that. I believe that is my purpose in the sport, is to change what people think about a boxer and allow boxers to have multiple avenues and still be respected. Right now, it's not respected because no one's done it. That's why I'm here. I believe I've been put in this position to do that. Elite boxing skill, high social media following, do multiple things. I'm still going to dominate in the ring and just show people, live your life, man. Live your life. Just don't cut corners in anything that you do. You'll be good. And I think that's going to be my mark that I leave on the sport.
Last one. I usually ask Luke at the end, I'll ask him just if I've missed anything. But what's next?
What, short term or?
Let's do both if we can. Yeah, short term.
What's next? Get back in the ring, get active, change this narrative that I should be fighting YouTubers. We want to make all the YouTubers realize, yep, this is not the same thing. Yes, he does get views, but he's not one of us. I guess that's the short term of what's next. And I guess, like I said in my last answer, long term is just to change that narrative of what a boxer has to be, whether that's how they train, whether that's what they're allowed to do in their spare time, whether it's being the typical trash talker at a press conference to get views, just anything like that. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. If the person's chatting to me, I'll chat back. That's how it'll go. But I don't feel like I need to create any energy. We need hype. Let's pretend we hate each other. No, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna change the fact that that needs to be a thing. It doesn't need to be a thing. And it doesn't need to be a thing. Why? Because I already got followers. So I don't need to do anything to beg for more.
Basically, my simple one, which is like, what does boxing mean to you? And then sort of another one is, like, do you think everyone should do boxing? Like, what does it teach people?
I think boxing to me is structure. Boxing to me is discipline, stress relief, excitement, nerves. It's satisfying. It's fulfilling. It's something you can't cut corners with. So you know if you achieve, you've done it the right way. You know, and boxing is. I look at my life like boxing. You know, it's crazy. I can't help it, but it just is the way it is. If I'm driving, I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm accelerating now. I'm throwing punches. All right, defend, break, defend. Like, it's just how my brain, I can't help it. Like, it's just how I think now. And I think everyone should do boxing training. I don't think everyone should fight, but I think everyone should try it because it's a very narrow skill, but it's very in depth. You only got 2 arms, and so there's only 6 punches really. But to actually be good at using your 2 arms and throwing 6 punches, you'd be surprised how much work goes into that. And I think it helps people think better. It's very mental. And everyone should try boxing training. You don't have to fight. You don't have to get hit in your face. I don't believe it's for everybody. But it can install things into you that are transferable to outside life.
When you say about putting the YouTube shit to bed, what's your plan for that? We said earlier, like 1 or 2 fights. Like, what's it in the terms of the performances? What does that look like? Just to like shut everyone up.
Devastating, really. Pain, a lot of pain, and I think technique too. I think anyone can knock someone out. You know, you can go outside a pub, someone's swinging a fist out, both put the guy to sleep, doesn't mean that you're scared of him. What's going to be scary is people seeing the skill and then the result. That's what is important to me. It's the seeing the skill and then the result. How we get to that point, you know, how they see how I avoid getting hit and hitting the other person and doing it in a way that none of the YouTubers can do it, not because just because they haven't been doing it that long. That's it. That's honestly it. They're gonna see what it really means to be doing the sport for a lifetime. I don't know my life without boxing, and you'll see that, and that will change the whole narrative of that YouTube boxing.
Just on that point, it's not something I really wanted to cover too much, but there's a massive payday there. Like especially with Jake Paul, there's a huge payday there. Are you worried that destroying your opponents, putting that image out there, you know, they're not going to take the fight if they're watching it and you're just dismantling people? Are you bothered?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Right.
You've done all the questions. I'm going to do one question. Do you think that if I don't fight Jake Paul, I'll never have a big payday?
No, true, yeah, 100%.
And that's
same to the YouTube channel.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Most of everyone that Jake fights, they get offered the most money they're ever going to get. Whether it's because they're in their retirement and they can't get that funds again, or whether it's because they've just got into boxing as a YouTuber and they can make that money, the prize, he can hook them onto that prize, because where else am I going to get it? I see myself being in Wembley Stadium. I see myself being in Vegas and achieving paydays that Jake is not going to offer me. So for me to fight you for money, I don't need your money. Like, I don't need your money. All I have to do is wait 2, 3, 4 years and I'll probably triple whatever you can offer me. Like, honestly, it's not about money for me. And it's also about keeping my path clear. I want my boxing career to have a certain narrative to it, and I don't need it to be mixed and matched with a YouTuber here and then a real fight here. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be steady. I want it to be professional the whole time, and I don't need any influencer names really on my boxing record. I don't need it. I'm ready on my own path, and I like Jake, and I tell him all the time he's my friend because he helps me out, and whether he wants to or not, he helps me out. But I just want him to do his thing there, and I do my thing here. We don't need to fight each other.
Back to that same thing that boxing taught you, no shortcuts. Like, it is what it is. You'll get found out.
Yeah,
you
can't cheat it. You can't cheat it. You can't cheat it. You will be found out at some point. The only way to not get found out is to quit. That's the only way. If you feel, and you know what, before you're about to get found out, things happen. Little things happen. It's happened to me. Little things happen where you don't just get found out as a surprise. Little things happen and you're like, close. And when you're honest with yourself, you're like, that was close, that was close. That's when you should stop. If you're not ready to change, that's when you should stop.
I love it. Thank you so much for the time. I know your socials are all over the place, but where's the best place to find you?
Best place to find me is on Instagram, really. YouTube and Instagram. My YouTube channel is my name, Viddal, Viddal. Instagram, is it real? ISITRIL. Same for Twitter. And I'm actually trying to boost up my Snapchat a little bit as well. So that's called Real Snaps, RIL Snaps. That is my Snapchat.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks.
Thank you. That was perfect.
So there you go. There was our interview with Viddal Riley. It was such an amazing experience to see him box. A lot of us know him from the YouTube world, so maybe we watch his YouTube videos with KSI, his videos on people like Jake Paul, and we've seen these videos, but what we sometimes forget is how skilled of a professional boxer he is, and that is actually his forte and what he's good at. So him to say he's going to be future world champ, for me, was super exciting. Guys, this whole video was made possible through Mulliganbrothers.com and everybody who's become a member and helped support us and subscribes to the channel, hits the notification bell. None of this can happen without you guys. So I just want to say a massive thank you. If you do want to support us, the link to the website is down below, where you can buy the hardest work in the room t-shirts. Do not buy these t-shirts if you're going to be in the room and there's someone else working hard on you. It is not allowed. Guys, go follow me on Instagram at Jordan Mulligan Brother. And yeah, thank you very much for watching the interview. I hope you gained something from it. Comment down below what was the best thing you got from this interview. Have a blessed and productive day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.